welcome back YouTube. Kyle here with KGB Knives. Alright, last video was my final sanding and etching. Alright, this video is going to be all about handle work, how I go about putting my handles on. Okay, this process will work the same for wood as it will for this micarta that I'm making right now, or this micarta handle that I'm working on right now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. First thing I do is I drill out my holes. Alright, I place my blade on my micarta, okay, and I drill my holes first. I do this so that when it comes to drawing out the profile of the blade on the micarta, so I get a nice clean outline and all in a line with the holes, I'll drill them out first while it's still on, one nice huge whole piece of micarta. There's many ways to skin a cat. This is what I do, and this is what works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get the camera situated on the drill press, and then we'll go from there. Drill one side of the blade, I'll flip it over, then I'll drill the holes for the other side of the blade. And as I'm doing that, I'll grab two old drill bits, and I will stick them in the previous holes that I drilled. Alright guys, so now that that's done, alright, I got these two drill bits in, and this is just a brass pin that I have in here, and that just holds everything and keeps everything in good alignment while I'm drilling the holes out. Alright, so I already went ahead and did it, but you want to go ahead and trace the outline of your blade, okay? And that just gives you something good to aim for when you're cutting it out on the bandsaw. Alright, so I've got the holes drilled out on that side. Okay, so I got my drills holed for either side of the blade. Alright, and from here I'm going to go ahead and cut out on the bandsaw fairly close to this. And cut out both sides and see how they line up. Make sure all the holes are nice and even. If I have to make any adjustments or redo the handles, I'll do it now. And basically I'm going to cut out a rough little profile around each one of these. See how they line up on the blade. Make sure all the holes are even and everything. Alright, so I got the two sides of the handle cut out, right, for the blade. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is you want to mark on I do it with a pencil. Alright, I have my pencil somewhere, there it is. Alright, so I do it with a pencil. I write on the outside of it with pencil. I do pencil because sometimes if you do it with a Sharpie marker or a pen, it'll bleed through the wood or the micarta. So I'll go ahead and mark and write on either side out. Alright y'all, alright guys, so as you can see here, alright, I've got the three drill bits in all the way through from the micarta, through the tang of the blade, and through the other side of the micarta. Alright, it's very, very important to make sure all of your holes are lined up prior to glue up. From here, before I do any glue up, from here, I'll go ahead and get my little granite surface plate out. I'll get some sandpaper and I'll try to flatten up the bottom side as best I can. Try to get it as flat as possible so you have a nice clean flat surface to glue onto your steel. I went ahead, I have my little bit of sandpaper from an old belt on my granite surface plate. It'd probably be more ideal to have a nice 11 by 8 sheet piece of sandpaper, but this is what I have, this is what works. Alright, so basically what we're going to do is sand and try to clean up the flats and get them as flat as possible. And you're just going to go back and forth with nice even pressure until you're satisfied. Alright, so as you can see here, these scales are stuck together, right? What that's going to tell you is that you have a nice flat surface, that they are sticking together that good. Alright, from here I will grab the blade, put the blade on, and I'll kind of eyeball where I want my two handle scales to meet up. Alright, so if you look here, I'm going to go ahead and focus so you can see. Maybe if the light will hit it right, I don't know. You can kind of see it right there, the pencil mark. So that's what I'm going to be sanding to right now. So I'll come down to the 90-degree angle, get it nice and flush and perfect, perfect along there, and then I'll take the handles apart and I'll put the rest to a 45. Now this is another reason why I marked the outside of my blades, because I'm going to drop this down to a 45-degree angle, and when I do that, the outside is going to go down, and we're going to go ahead and grind and put our 45s in. When I'm done doing that, I'll show you what I got. Alright guys, so as you can see here, I got the front portion of my handle nice and perfectly even, nice and symmetrical on both sides. Okay, that was 150 grits right there. I'm going to go ahead and do 220, 320, and 400 grit, and then I'll stop there and get ready to put the handles on the blade. Alright, so now that we got all that done, okay, got the forward portion of the handle done. I'm going to do one more mock-up, make sure everything goes together nice and good, make sure there aren't any oversights or anything like that. Yep, everything looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it all apart. But other than that, what I'm going to do here is I got my sandpaper, and I will just, this is 240 grit sandpaper, and I'll just hit and put a whole bunch of little scratch marks in the area that the handle is going to be. So I don't know if you can see it, if this is in focus or not, but you can see the scratch marks. Basically I take the scratch marks up to this first pinhole here. Okay. Alright, take two. What we got here are a few things. Okay, I got a bunch of spring clamps, some C-clamps, scales, knife, stirring, I guess a stirring nail. I forgot to show you guys earlier, but I've got my handle pins and lanyard tube. Alright, I got acetone here already open, bunch of paper towels over here, some parchment paper laid out, and epoxy. What we're going to do here is go ahead and mix out equal parts of the resin. Okay, we want to make sure we rub it on here nice and equal. You don't want any areas thicker than any other areas. And kind of here in the front, you want to keep it back because this will squeeze out and adhere the bond there. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and put the handle right there. Alright, now this is the most important part, is getting this area cleaned up. This is why 5-minute epoxy is not ideal, because by the time you get all that done, you have to clean up any epoxy that's along this front portion of the handle here. But it's kind of, you want to be very careful about it, because you don't want to actually remove any of the epoxy out of the gap here with the acetone. So you just want to lightly hit it, get it nice and cleaned up, and then let it sit to dry. Alright, now we got the handle glued up on here. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is put some tape on here. First thing we got to do when we're putting the tape on is I just get a nice paper towel. I just soak it up in a good bit of 3-in-1 oil. Get it nice and soaked and saturated. Alright. Same thing on the blade. I'm going to get a nice good bit of oil on the blade. And this is just so that you don't get any rust or any corrosion on your blade as it's sitting taped up. Alright, I just take the paper towel that I soaked up, just wrap it around. Okay. Alright. And then just some blue painter's tape. And all this is doing is protecting our blade while we're doing any kind of grinding or all the finish work on the handle. Okay. And that's what we got. That's what she looks like when we're done. Okay, now I'm going to take it over to the grinder. Alright, sorry about that. I forgot to hit the record button. But I got it nice and roughed out. Nice, everything's nice and flat. Alright, now I'll go ahead and put my tool rest on. And I'll clean up all these flats with the 120 grit. Alright, now I got my disc sander set up at a 45-degree angle. Alright, now I'm just going to lay in this bevel profile here, and then after I get that laid in, I'll just come in with sandpaper and I'll hand sand the rest of it. Alright, so let's get cracking. I'm just going to start off at 220 grit, and I'll just start sanding the whole blade until I get to, the whole handle, until I get a nice rounded shape and get all the scratch marks out. And I'll probably go up to about either 400 or 600 grit. Once I get to 400, I'll see how it looks and decide what I want to do from there. But I'll go ahead and sand, and when I get done, I'll let you know what grit I go up to. Alright you guys, so I'm going to finish this up here. Battery's about to die, but I ended up grinding or sanding all the way up to 2000 grit. Next video is going to be making the sheath and sharpening and polishing. Alright, so thank you guys for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like, subscribe, or comment on the video. And if you got any questions, as always, go ahead and comment down below. Alright, have a great one. See you later.